Hey guys, um, good evening from Idlewild. Um, Today we're going to talk about sleep because, as I mentioned in my last video, sleep is really, really important for keeping your general level of anxiety down. Your amygdala will be less activated overall if you sleep well, okay? If you get enough sleep, right? You get enough good sleep. You get enough sleep that includes several REM sets in your time asleep, right? So I want to go over some things about sleep and then give you some ideas about ways to hopefully improve your sleep. And so that's where we're going to go today. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So let's start with some breathing because, again, other things that will keep your anxiety level generally lower, like outside of a particular anxiety episode or panic attack or whatever, is to, as we said, do regular deep breathing, aerobic exercise, decent sleep, right? And then if you can, yoga. And there's a whole bunch of people, and especially in New Orleans, I know Wild Lotus is doing it, I think Swan River may be doing it too. There's lots of people doing online yoga classes, so there is the possibility of you doing this at home too. So I'm just going to plug that because I'm a big advocate. I'm biased, whatever. So let's start off by breathing, and so I'm going to make some scary faces at you while I breathe, and hopefully you'll breathe with me. Or you can just turn it off or fast forward it through this part if I scare you too much. Anyway, so let's take 3 deep breaths. And again, imagine pulling that breath all the way through you. You can also add light if you want to. Imagine that you're breathing in light. Take really good deep breaths where you breathe all the way down. Imagine breathing all the way down to your toes, if that works. So let's try that. I'm going to do some breathing. And now I'm going to encourage you to ground again. So I want you to, again, feel where your body is in space. If you're sitting or lying down or standing or whatever it is that you're doing, feel where you are. Feel if you're touching furniture, what parts of your body are touching that furniture. What do your clothes feel like on your body? What do you hear? What do you smell? What do you see? What do you taste? What does the air feel like? And again, no judgment, right? It's cold or it's hot. I mean, it is a little chilly, as you can see. I'm wearing my little jacket today. It was getting a little dark in the house, so I thought I would come out and make the video outside again today. And so go ahead and pause the video and ground yourself, and then come back and we'll talk about sleep. So, sleep. Sleep's a biggie. And I know that sleep is difficult for a lot of people. And sleep is particularly difficult if you are a trauma, and I'm going to call you a trauma transcender instead of a trauma survivor, because to me, being a survivor sounds like you're like thrown up on the beach, gasping for breath and barely making it, right? And that's not where we want to go. We do not want to be on the beach gasping for breath, barely making it. We want to transcend that trauma. We want to take it and use it to learn and use it to get stronger and transcend it and go, right? So that, and you can do that. And it may take working with an individual therapist to get there if you've got really significant trauma, or if that's, I'm not saying that you can necessarily do this on your own, but there's a lot that you can do on your own, right? There's a lot that you can do on your own. You have the tools. Sometimes it just takes working with somebody else to help you find some of those tools, right? Okay, I digress. Let's go to sleep. Sleep. So, what often happens when we're trying to go to sleep, right? One of the first things that often happens when we try to go to sleep is that we start moving into what I call the vortex, right? We start thinking all the things that we need to do, or that we didn't do today, or that are wrong or that we're worried about or what, and we just spin, right? Our thoughts just spin. And while our thoughts are spinning, we're spinning in bed, right? Back and forth, not sleeping, right? Or you may have a situation where you wake up in the middle of the night. 3 o'clock seems to be my favorite time to do that, and spin, right? So what can you do about that, right? So first, let's take it into preparatory work for sleep, okay? And you may have to exercise some self-discipline here, guys. I know it's an ugly word, and, but we may just have to exercise some self-discipline. It's hard. Some of the stuff I'm going to suggest is it's not going to be your favorite, okay? The first thing I'm going to suggest is fairly easy, and I think something that everybody would be willing to do. And that is pick another time during the day to worry. Okay, I know this sounds, but I want you to have a worry time, okay? I want you to take, and you can time it, like say, give yourself 5 minutes, 2 minutes. I don't know how much time you want to give yourself to worry. Don't give yourself more than 10 though, okay? Like we really don't need to go too far into this. But pick a time, say at 2 o'clock every afternoon, I'm going to worry, okay? And then pick all the stuff that's normally in your head or that's in the back of your mind during the day and that comes to the front when things get quiet, when you try to go to sleep or when you wake up in the middle of the night and things are quiet. That's when some of the stuff that's in the back of your mind all day long starts to come to the front of your mind, right? So I want you to sit down and think about all the things that you're worried about. Okay. And it might even help to make a list of all the things that you're worried about. Just make a list of all the things that you're worried about. And one of the things that that'll do is that'll take it out of your head, right? And it'll put it down on a piece of paper where you can see it, right? And a lot of times just doing that, again, may give us a little distance between it, because then you also can see it on a piece of paper and say, oh, you know what? I can't do anything about that. Maybe I just need to let that go. Or you can see it and say, well, yeah, I'm worried about that, but does it do me any good to worry about it right now? Or it may just be, wow, my list is shorter than I thought it was. Or, wow, my list is longer than I thought it was. But at least you'll start to see what those things are, right? And again, any little bit of distance that you can get between what's going on in here in the vortex is good, is going to be helpful. That's going to bring everything down a notch, right? So pick a time to worry, okay? That's the first thing. Another thing, this is where the self-discipline comes in. And I mentioned this in my last video, I believe, just briefly. No screens. No screens at least an hour before bedtime, okay? So at least an hour before the time that you're going to bed, you need to get off the phone, stop looking at Facebook, stop looking at your computer. And right now, may I also suggest that you not watch or read any news, okay? And I might even suggest that you not really look a whole lot at news, or again, sort of like your worry time. Pick a time of the day, and maybe it's first thing in the morning or maybe it's later in the day. Pick a time, and I'm going to spend 20 minutes watching some news, catching up on the news, because right now there's so much in the news that's just going to create more anxiety. It's not really helpful, and you're not really learning a whole lot, You might even be, so if you can get it down to once a day, that you're not on a total diet of this, you're not doing it 24/7, because I know that right after Katrina, when I was in Tokyo, right, watching the storm hit New Orleans, or it hit Mississippi, and then learning about what happened to New Orleans afterwards, I spent about 5 days where I swear I slept in front of the television. I was watching that thing 24/7, and I will be eternally grateful to the ladies, 3 ladies in Tokyo, who realized what I was doing and intervened. They had an intervention. They basically came over to my house and they said, "Hey, Catherine, this is not healthy. You need to turn off the TV. We're going out." And they took me out for lunch, and we had a great time, and they were right. And that was the moment that I said, okay, I need to compartmentalize this, and I need to do a little bit, and then I need to start figuring out how I can help. So then we ended up doing a fundraiser to raise money anyway, and that made me feel better. We're having a screen issue again. I don't know why this happens. Okay. I don't know why this screen freezes, but I'm just going to keep talking, and you can look at this very weird look on my face that I have, it's stuck on. Okay, so turn off the screens, turn off the news, try to watch the news only once a day. That will also bring your anxiety level down and keep some of the news out of your vortex. Turn off the TV in your bedroom if you have one. May I generally recommend that TVs are not good things to have in bedrooms. That's just a general thing. There's other stuff to do in your bedroom. The least of which might be read a book. Just a suggestion. It also, reading a book is or reading something, reading a magazine, maybe not a newspaper. Reading something that takes you away from whatever it is that's going on, whether it's in your life or the world or whatever, that is going to be something worthwhile, okay? That's going to be a worthwhile thing to do, and helpful. Now, another thing too, is to make sure that you have a regular bedtime. You need to choose a bedtime, and preferably choose a bedtime. If there's a time in the evening where you find yourself getting tired, that's a good time, because that's your body naturally heading in that direction, right? Your melatonin's activating. So pick a time and stick to it. You need to have a regular routine. And that's another thing, a regular routine. That does not include the television, the screen, or the phone or the computer, but a regular time. And getting up at a regular time is also a good idea, okay? Right now, that can be a little bit loose, right? So if you're a night owl, maybe you don't go to bed till 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't really care when you go to bed. Like, it doesn't have to be, at 9 or 10 o'clock. It just happens to be when I go to bed. But try to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep if you can. So pick a time. If you go to bed at 10, maybe you're up at 6 or 7. Maybe you can sleep a little bit later now. That's fine. But do try to have a general time when you also get up. Napping, by the way, does not get you into REM sleep. And I'm not saying naps are bad, although a nap late in the afternoon might interfere with your sleep cycles. So that might not be great. But napping does not get you into REM sleep cycles, so you cannot make up sleep by napping because you don't get into REM cycles. It's not going to help your anxiety. Another recommendation that I would make, or another suggestion, something I invite you to do potentially is, and this would involve the phone but not looking at it, or the computer but not looking at it, or a tablet. And that is to listen to the spoken word, okay? I know that, for instance, my daughter listens to podcasts when she's going to sleep. And that used to bother me. And then I actually found out that the spoken word can be better than music, because you can vortex while you're listening to music. And I may have mentioned that on, wow, okay, this is fun.